Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tuzzi, and first off, before we start the video, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed recently. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, and that's absolutely insane, and I can't thank you guys enough. I'm about to drop a really intense story, and so if you guys have any stress or past experiences with drugs and you don't want to hear that, that's all good. Just got to put the disclaimer in that I don't encourage any drug use, and I'm not saying that any of you guys should go out and have this same experience. I'm just telling a personal story, and if you guys want to listen, that's all good. Alrighty, let's get straight into it. Alrighty guys, so you know how Corona's going on and stuff. Well, we're on lockdown in Tasmania and Australia. So I was like, you know what, let's fucking drop 5 tabs. So I've done acid probably 3 or 4 times, and I'd previously done as high as 3, so 450 micrograms, but nothing ever higher than that. So I've locked myself in my room, I'm on a video call with the boys, and I've whacked them down my throat about 9:30 PM. By the first half hour, I felt like I was being thrown upwards. The come up was absolutely insane, like the classic LSD shit we're talking. It was fucking mental. Loss of focus, tunnel vision, and lots of motion blur. By the hour mark or so, I was tripping fucking balls, man. Like, legit, I've got RGB computer den, and that did not help to magnify the random colours that were just swirling around in my vision. I stupidly didn't, but I probably should have got a trip sitter, but at the same time, I couldn't, you know, because of self-isolation. So, besides my boys on the phone, I had no one to watch out for me. So, I'm just getting crazy visual effects for hours and hours. Like, I'm talking, I was looking around my room and stuff, and there was just like colour just swirling everywhere, and my walls were just turning into faces, and my floor was just pattern after pattern. My mouse was like super slow motion. Like, when I was looking at my computer, it would like drag up across my screen at like 3 frames per second, and just like lots and lots of motion blur, like repetitive. So I'd move my hand and I'd see like 6 instances of my hand. It was absolutely insane, to be honest with you. Like, there was only the hour as well, and that's like, I suppose like I did drop 750 micrograms, but at the same time, you know, that was like so intense. I've never had anything like that before. So anyway, the boys decided they wanted to head off to sleep, so I'm like, I'm a draw. And I drew some crazy shit, man. Like, if I saw these drawings, not knowing it was done by me, I'd think it was like a psychopath or some shit. It's like just really harsh, dark lines, weird faces, lots of eyes. I draw lots of eyes for some reason. I don't know why, but I mean, that's just what happens, I guess. And so after I'd drawn for a bit, I'm like, you know what, let's jam to some music. So I chucked on some Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper. Pretty ironic, I know, right? Which, dear God, that goes fucking hard when you're off your face, man. Like, oath. Even the intro, bro. God, that song just fucking bangs, man. Alright, now for some background for this terrible decision I'm about to make. Every time I've had acid, I've smoked pot with it. They always combined perfectly for me. I thought it would have been chill and I'd just go to sleep like usual. However, I was wrong. It was about 2 AM and I'd smashed down 2 packed as fuck joints. And now a key point to remember for this story is a little ember came out of my joint and went into some cardboard, but I put it out. Or at least I thought I had. I'd make sure I'd squashed it and there was no flames or anything like that, and it had gone completely out. So I didn't worry about it, you know? I just headed back inside, walked past Mum and Dad, who thankfully were a bit drunk on the couch and they were watching TV, so they didn't really notice anything odd about me, even though my eyeballs were about 4,000 times the normal size. And so my mate was like, yo, you really should listen to Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. Apparently it's the Acid album. And I was like, well, I mean, I've got to do it then, hey. I've got to do it. That's the rules. I don't make the rules, bro. I just have to follow them. And so, it's about 2:30 AM, and I feel myself peaking again. I'm thinking, shit, no way, the pot has brought me back all the way up again. But scarily it had. I was so fucked. It was so late. And it just felt like I was being thrown into space. Like, my brain was just exploding. And I was starting to get really paranoid too. I was checking over my shoulder all the time. I had to keep the light on. And what made it worse is when I really started to break down is this song came on called On The Run. Now, it's from the Dark Side of the Moon album, and it is the scariest shit I've ever heard in my life. Now, remember, I'm peaking again, so I'm already going up as it is, and this song just feels like it's driving me harder and harder and harder and harder up. I can feel my heartbeat rising along with the song, and I'm really starting to freak the fuck out. My breathing is picking up, and it's not a good time. There's this kind of background sort of talking happening in the song at the same time, and I start to imagine my parents arguing and screaming at each other in the living room. I'll get a little bit more into these stories about my home life in another video. But I'm starting to get really scared that Dad's going to come in and hit me or something. But the thing is, they weren't even talking. My brain was just turning these sounds into voices in my head to freak me out. Now, I've always been a bit scared of psychosis and things like that. And so, I can't imagine having to live every day like that because it is so real. Like, you think when you hear your own conscious in your brain, you're like, there's no way that I could just listen to that and it could convince me to do scary things. But the thing is it's so real. You don't know if it's real or not. Like, I remember thinking, I have no idea if they're actually saying these things. I legitimately cannot tell. It was terrifying. But anyway, this is where it gets really fucked. Remember when I mentioned earlier that ember that fell into the cardboard? Well, it starts off when I heard running footsteps going out the back, like thudding intense footsteps. And then Mum starts crying and screaming that the deck is on fire. At this point, I'm fucking freaking out, like, the fuck, I can see our deck on fire and it's all my fault. I'm crying my eyes out, seconds away from calling the fire department. My dad is out there too and they're trying to put the fire out. But then the song finishes and the image, the sounds, the everything I just experienced disappears. And I realize that I imagined the entire scenario. Now, I am not kidding when I say I could fully see. I was watching my deck on fire. My mum screaming, trying to put it out. My dad yelling, fucking, they're going insane. I am so scared. Like, it is the realest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't even know how to explain it to you, but it was just imagine, like, physically, I was sitting in my chair, but it was like I was outside watching my deck on fire and my parents were screaming and it was so real. But anyway, so the song finishes and everything disappears and I imagine the whole thing. Now, I'm going to be real with you. If anything shows you the power of acid in the brain, it's that. It fully just conjured up that whole situation. And it was believable. I thought it was real. I thought it was real life. I'd never been so terrified in my life. Well, up to that point anyway. Because what happens next only gets worse. Now, this is the point when my brain gets a bit fuzzy. So forgive me if some parts don't make sense. Basically, like, for the next 4 hours, I was stuck in the same thought loop of realizing I was self-aware, and to quote something I wrote down about 1,000 times in my notes at the time, reality can't exist where you exist talking to yourself. I'd basically convinced myself that I lived in a false world because it didn't make any sense that I was aware of my existence and that I could talk to myself. Basically, every time I had the thought that I was self-aware, the world would, like, glitch. Like, the universe would physically glitch. Like, it'd make the noise where, like, when, like, remember, like, a CD disc freezes? It'd make that noise, and my vision, everything would just pause, and it'd be like the whole world was just, like, everything around me was just staring into my soul, and it'd be like, you weren't supposed to know that. Let me read some of the things I wrote down in my phone for background. I'll just pull it up real quick. Alright. So I wrote all these things down in my phone at the time. Reality can't exist where you exist talking to yourself. Tonight, I saw the horrors that is when the host becomes self-aware. I have decided that I will tonight to die, however. So the thing is, I was trying to write what was going to kill me, but it's like I didn't have the language. Like, I knew what it was, but I couldn't put it into words. And so I chose the word to, because that's kind of like a word that doesn't actually have any meaning. And then when I wrote however, I tried to finish the sentence, but it just physically wouldn't let me. Like, I couldn't put words down. It was so weird. I experienced 4 dimensions. I felt it through my body, in my soul. It's the force, that is why. 4D is understanding and existing in the plane for both realities happens simultaneously in which a decision has been split. Say for example I choose to click on a link. 4D is both of those realities of me clicking on the link or not happening at the same time, but also living in the moment of that time. Last night I became self-aware. Last night I also watched my house burn down and my heart was pounding. I wanted to scream out, but none of it was real. But that's 4D knowing that reality exists where my joint did light up my backyard and it wasn't just a vision. So, the most crazy thing is, you guys know what a Mandela effect is, right? It's kind of like where everyone remembers something happening, but when you go back and look at it, it's not what everybody thought. It's something completely different, and that's what a Mandela effect is. So I experienced one happen in real time. So basically, I was like looking through my Instagram and this photo came up and it was this blonde girl and she was wearing this cool outfit and I was like, oh, that's a cool outfit. I'm gonna send it to my friend because she likes those kind of outfits. And then in my head, I saw these two people. I saw this Asian man and this blonde chick. And then when I looked back at the photo, it wasn't a blonde chick anymore. It was this Asian dude. And he looks so fake. Like, it does not look real that he's there. It just looks like it's been photoshopped on. It doesn't look real. And I just remember thinking, what the fuck? How? It was literally a blonde chick before. And that's kind of like what ties in with the whole four-dimensional kind of two realities existing at once. And so I was just, it was just more evidence that was pointing, and it was making me grow even more crazy. Like, I straight up thought I was gonna die. I'd accepted the fact that, you know, I was gonna die and I was not gonna wake up in the morning, and I was okay with it. And I think that's the scariest part. It was so weird because I couldn't tell anyone what I was going through, because every time I tried to write out a help message, it was like the universe wouldn't let me. You know that feeling when someone looks at you? Well, try and imagine every item in your peripheral vision is staring at you and standing over you, because that's what it felt like every time I tried to write a message. It was like the universe was trying to tell me I'm not allowed to know these things, and no one else will ever again, and for knowing this, I was going to die. At this point, I was starting to feel a tug on my arm, and I kid you not, this is some paranormal activity shit. It was like someone was pulling my arm, and if I followed the weight on my hand, it led to my bed. And when I lied down on my bed, I felt a presence pushing me down. My mind is racing at this point. I'm still stuck in the self-aware thought loop, so this isn't helping at all. Now, I don't want to end the story there, but the problem is, that's where it ends. I don't remember a single thing apart from waking up the next day. My bedroom light was still on and everything. Now, I'm not a spiritual man, and I don't believe in anything. But if demons and God are real, I swear to God, I've met them both. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to make one of these videos every single week. So if you guys make sure you turn that post notifications on, make sure you get around and check out my video every single week. Alrighty guys, all of you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Tuzzi, signing off.